Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is I, your host, Mr. Sean. This is Chimera Miniatures' official YouTube channel, and we're here today with Bella's Blues 2, Electric Boogaloo. Respect to anybody who gives the second part of their story the Electric Boogaloo title. I once did make the comment that one of the most important things in cinema history is the creation of Break-Into Electric Boogaloo, simply for the fact that anytime there is a part 2 of something, we can add to it Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I think the film's about breakdancing. I don't know anything beyond that, but that is an important thing that that film has given us, so respect to the title. This is, of course, originally from the r/RPG Horror Stories subreddit written by Katarai, and in my previous video, I read part 1 of this. If you have not seen part 1, I recommend you go and check it out. There will be a link in the description. But if you want a brief synopsis, he and several other DMs ran an overarching campaign set in Waterdeep, and there was one problem player named Belle who played a self-insert character named Bella who just caused all kinds of problems. At the end of that campaign, Bella was banned from the store because it had been found that she was actively discouraging other people from coming to the store and joining the campaign, and fearing missing out on new business, the store owner finally decided to put a stop to her shenanigans. But before we get into the story, let me once again remind you that this channel is the one that I use to advertise for my business, Chimera Miniatures, where I sell Dungeons & Dragons miniatures, HeroClix miniatures, Not Safe for Works HeroClix miniatures, as well as all different kinds of items collectibles on my eBay page. And if you'd like a specific piece, you can reach out to me via email or on my Facebook. All of my links can be found in the description. I've recently taken on a custom job to make 3 characters from Thundar the Barbarian, so if there's characters you'd love to see some minis of, send me a message. I'll look into it and I can quote you a price. There is also still time to cast your vote for the free giveaway at the time that I am creating this video. Nobody has voted on the giveaway, all the details of which can be found in the video of the giveaway, which again, link in the description. Just a reminder that the voting is open until the end of January 2023. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into the story. And again, apologies for any background noise, the winter storm is still going strong. So the campaign at the shop went on to Season 2. Setting changed to Icewind Dale, then the Astral Sea. It went on for a while. Life, though, has its ways. I had new responsibilities, so I drifted away from DMing, only rarely dropping by to help for a big event or play myself. Then the pandemic struck, and the shop closed. I kept working during the year-long quarantine, but other than that, there was little else to do. So I was intrigued when a friend from the shop sent me an invite to a West Marches-style server he had set up. There were some red flags, like the strict rules of the server and the seemingly irrational ban of content that changed each week at the creator's whim, or the fact that he had created the server after getting in fights and abandoning 3 previous ones, but I didn't have the full image back then, and honestly, I just wanted to scratch my itch at RPGs. The pandemic has been a bigger boon to RPG horror stories than literally anywhere else from that I've seen. It just seems like a lot of these stories on this subreddit started because people were forced to look online and start playing with randos because everyone was stuck inside. We weren't able to go out and play in our friendly local game store, and just the fact that the anonymous nature of onlinedom, a lot of creeps let their creep flag fly, and a lot of people got themselves into situations where they had to make that choice that no D&D is better than bad D&D. So I joined, decided to roll the least played and hardest class allowed, and started playing. Eventually, even running some of my own adventures. And honestly, it was fun. I want to know what OP thinks the hardest and least played class is. I'm putting my guess in for Ranger, which personally I think Rangers in 5e don't get enough love. I've actually had some decent success making up Ranger characters, though I'll be honest, I did multi-class them a bit. I've never played just a straight Ranger, but I'm guessing OP played Ranger. Until one day, my messages ping with a new arrival at the server. Belle. I shivered but paid it no mind. Later that day, we had a DM meeting, and one of the DMs raised the subject, as he had played with her before, and it was not fun. I also chimed in that she had a record, but the owner reassured us she was fine. She just wanted a safe place to play and have fun, as she was kicked out by a few other servers. No red flags there. I mentioned in the last video how toxic I found the store owner that waited so long to ban Belle, And I would say that this guy, at least the owner of this server, is even worse because, like her, he's apparently been kicked out of other servers, so he might be just as toxic as her, which is why he's not going to throw the ban hammer at her instantly, at least not right away. I always think it's funny in a lot of these stories how people claim, like it's always the antagonistic people that claim that their issues from previous things they've been kicked from were issues with other people. Because growing up, my dad always had a saying that he liked to tell me, which was, "If it's everybody else, it's probably you." We decided to give her a chance, mainly because no one wanted to deal with the owner's whims. But as we talked it over, more people shared stories of games Belle had actually managed to ruin and groups she'd been kicked from. But hey, maybe she's learned her lesson. Nope. Her new character was Morticia. Way to ruin Morticia Adams for me, the truly iconic and awesome character her abomination was based on. A shadow sorceress socialite that wanted to leave the gloom of the court and the pressure of her rich family behind to forge her own path and find true love. So basically emo Bella. Apparently that was another pattern, as more people confirmed. I've mentioned on this channel before that I do not like it when people play rogues, and it's not because I think there's anything wrong with the class rogue. I just think that a lot of times people that always go with rogue, it's always, oh, I have to have a tragic backstory, I have to be mysterious, I have to be... everybody that plays a rogue, and a lot of times, not everybody, but a lot of times they'll play rogues the exact same stereotypical edgelord way, and I don't like it. That's exactly what Belle is doing with her characters, only she's just giving them the same basic backstory. Oh, I don't want to live in the shadow of my rich mummy and daddy. I want to strike out on my own and find true love. Now, when you are a player in Dungeons & Dragons, you have the supreme privilege of being able to constantly make whatever character suits your fancy. So why would you play the same character every time? It's not like Skyrim where I play a Nord every time because that just suits the way I play, but it's literally just you have unlimited options and you're going to go with the same story option every time. Like, don't do that. Change it up a bit. So she introduced the character and started role-playing in the server's channels, displaying complete disregard for how roleplay worked, jumping in conversations all over the place using out-of-character knowledge from events she was not present, as she talked over 3 different groups at different places simultaneously. The DMs tried to rein her in, she just wouldn't get it. Her character talked over everyone, trying to prove herself better at everything. More knowledgeable than the trained in arcane and history-maxed intelligent wizard, more agile and graceful than the trained in acrobatics and maxed dex elf rogue, more charismatic than the expertly trained in persuasion and maxed charisma bard. There would be no problem if she picked a field and backed it with her abilities, but no, she had to be the Mary Sue and argued when she wasn't, or when the spotlight left for even a little from her. It was worse in sessions, with entire games derailed for hours if she happened to more inexperienced DMs. If you really want to Mary Sue a campaign, just write a goddamn book about how great you are. Don't ruin other people's fun. The owner of the server not only didn't mind, he found it fun and even joined in the chaos sometimes, bringing in a cartoon character himself in an ill attempt to woo her, as he did with all girls in the server, as we learned later, but that's a horror story on its own. I mean, I guess toxic people gotta stick together, plus trying to get a little cyber nookie from this girl who's known to be, sexually creepy on various people. I mean, everybody's in quarantine, and I'm sure a lot of the nerds in these D&D campaigns are pretty damn thirsty right now. Side note of my own backstory, I literally proposed to my girlfriend a week before lockdown happened. Thank God she said yes, or that would have been really fucking awkward. So naturally, talk started in the DM chat. What do we do? How do we kill her? How do we kill them? Still unsure if they meant the player or the character. OP, hopefully you and your fellow DMs remember to add the words "in Minecraft" during these discussions. You can't just be leaving a trail of evidence when you're talking about this shit. The people turned to me. I was experienced, and I enjoyed more freedom in my sessions as I had a reputation for running tight but fair games, and the owner trusted me. I was against it. Killing a character is easy, and it's bad. The DM has the power to do whatever they want. That was no solution. You never kill a character. A character should be made to kill themselves, and thank the DM for it. A lesson should be learned. It was time I went nuclear. Writing this, I realize it sounds weird, bad even, but back then I didn't have the mental capacity to deal with all that. All the drama over a game that is supposed to be fun sounded, and still sounds, stupid to me. On any other occasion, I'd talk to the player directly. We'd find common ground, or if not, part ways. No shame in that. Different people like different things. The game is better with people that have the same sense of cool, and even when you find those, they may surprise you at times. It's fine and fun, but back then, I just wanted to vent. And Belle had repeatedly demonstrated that she didn't take to words. Sounds like OP thinks if she don't take to words, maybe she'll catch these hands, catch me outside, how about that? I guess that only works if you're actually inside the game store. You can't catch me outside on the internet, and I guess you can. I guess that's just real life. Always remember the phrase when dealing with people. Do you want it to look like an accident, or should I send a message? In Minecraft. So the plan was simple. The adventure was ready, and the trap was set. Just for good measure, we'd gotten all the problem players in the same game. I wouldn't kill anyone outright and for no reason, but the game would include tough and unforgiving choices. The story went like this. North of the Moonsea in central Faerun lies an ancient necropolis where rules a lich so powerful even the Church of Kelemvor knows to stay away, the King in Copper. The Lich wants nothing to do with the living. He rules over empty land filled with ancient burial grounds, and he has but one rule. All beneath the earth are my domain. Stay away. Wait, that's 2 rules. The nearby towns respect that to the point that tomb raiding is a crime punishable by death, as it may anger the Lich. But an aspiring necromancer seeks the Lich's secrets and has entered the domain. The nearby town hastily hires the adventurers to hunt the necromancer down and get out before the Lich learns what's going on and retaliates. The heroes, all levels 5 to 9, enter the burial grounds, bypass roaming undead, corner, and confront the necromancer who has stolen a crystal from one of the burial grounds, and after a lengthy, tough fight, they manage to put him down. As they do, they feel the temperature dropping, the shadows darkening, as a figure materializes at the burrow's entrance and floats towards them. The King in Copper has arrived. Now, I should mention here, I know full well the difference in power between the party and the Lich. He was not there for a fight. He was intended as a purely social encounter. He was a boogeyman there to scare them, get the artifact, and disappear, leaving them with a message to bring back to the world of the living that, as they respected his demands, his pact still stands. He floats over to the one holding the crystal. Incidentally, the owner's irritating character thanks them for cleaning this mess and raises a skeletal hand demanding the crystal. The rest of the party backed away towards the door and assumed safety. But the owner stood his ground. He was ready to oppose a freaking Lich, to give the others time to escape. He played a life cleric of the Thunder and was not willing to just compromise with a Lich. Ah yes, lawful stupid, the best alignment. I send him a PM. Me. Dude, he seems accommodating, but you get the feeling you should not cross him. Owner. Dude, I know, I'm just role-playing my character. And that indeed he did well, maybe for the first time in the character's existence. Me. He will kill you, you know, I'm not joking. Owner. Dude, I know, it's okay, I really don't like this character, and if he is to die, this scene is epic. Me. Are you sure? Owner. Totally. What better way to go? I'm staring down a Lich. Okay, honestly, credit where credit's due. This is probably one of the best lawful stupid, but bro, it's what my character would do moments I've ever seen. I'm okay with this. I'm literally taken aback. I hadn't seen him play like that in a long time. He is describing how his character is indeed holding a cursed artifact and he'd rather destroy it altogether than return it. I felt bad for the entire thing. I didn't want to kill him. I considered alternatives, like the Lich respecting his devotion. It's not like he could hurt the Lich anyway, so the Lich could just keep him as a curiosity for a time, maybe release him later, or create an entire new adventure around all that. My creative juices were flowing. Phrasing, I know. It would be amazing. I really feel OP's pain here when there's like a really cool moment and you really want it to somehow work out, but you don't know how to do it. The first time a PC ever died outright in one of my campaigns, it was a really cool monk character that our friend had built, and his name was Rice Lee, which oddly enough, he was a human monk played by a Japanese friend of mine, and when he couldn't come up with a name, he went to the official Wizards of the Coast name generator, and for human monk it said Rice Lee, which we laughed so hard that had to be the name, but it literally came down to, if Rice Lee was unconscious, he'd already failed a death saving throw, and he was being carried away from the attacking monster by our druid, and if the monster had missed the attack, Rice Lee would have gotten him out of the range to safety, and they could have healed him. But it hit, and he died, and there was no cleric in the party. They were deep in the Underdark. They had no way to bring him back or not hinder the party by dragging him along, and it was like one of those things that it came down to that one roll, and I really wanted it to work out for them, and it didn't, and I felt really bad. But that is part of what happens with D&D, is sometimes the odds won't be in their favor, but that, they can go out epically, but it still hurts when they do go out. And in this case, considering the player that is playing this character, I almost guarantee he's about to die, the fact that this is like him in real life, his redemption arc, he's going from a toxic player to a really good player, it's a really great moment for him, and I'm so sad that this is not going to potentially go in his favor. And I know that as the DM, OP is going through that same pain, because at the end of the day, the DM wants you to succeed. A good DM doesn't want to TPK the party. They want you to succeed, but they don't want to make it easy for you. So you are, as a DM, you're rooting for the players. And then, of course, Belle happened. She was displeased for staying out of the spotlight for the 10 minutes this whole discussion happened. So she had Morticia, who had escaped with the others, magically teleport back, argued in length how she wouldn't have run away, and no man gets left behind even though everyone else did, and her character had never displayed any willingness to help her teammates or assure their well-being before. And through a shatter spell, because she still had spell slots as she used none while her other teammates almost died and ran empty on the last fight, aiming it perfectly in a room she didn't know the layout, because come on, all burrows are the same, to hit things that were out of her line of sight, because come on, they talk, she can hear them and triangulate perfectly, including the Lich, the crystal, and the cleric holding it. I'm past arguing at this point. The spell goes off, it does minimal damage to the Lich, it breaks the crystal and drops the cleric, who after a tough fight was talking down a Lich while being at 4 HP.
Pity,
says the Lich, looking at the broken artifact, raises a finger at Morticia, and disintegrates her before disappearing. The others escape and return to the Adventuring Guild with an awesome story and tell of the bravery of the cleric and how he stayed back to buy them time, only for Belle to interject, talking over people even without a character to remind that she was there too and it was her heroic action that saved the day. People called her out. I called her out. No lesson was learned. Not by her. She spent the next 3 days in the server's voice chat, retelling the story of her heroic sacrifice to anyone that happened to log on, all while boasting how awesome her next character would have to be to top Morticia. I didn't log in for a few days, relaxing and thinking of the cool story arc I could make of this, and how I'd introduce it, which was another mistake, because if I'd logged on more frequently, I might have prevented this next disaster. I love and hate the level of mental gymnastics Belle is able to go through to see herself as the hero of this story. She did almost nothing during the actual battle that was going on. She didn't even save the players from the Lich. The Lich wasn't going to attack anybody. He asked for his crystal back. The cleric defied him. She goes in, destroys the crystal and the cleric, which causes the Lich to just kill her and then leave. He didn't go after the other players. They weren't really even buying time. The one guy decided to do the face down moment because it was in character. She just wanted to go in and do something and have the spotlight on her, but in no way, shape, or form did she do anything productive, yet she still thinks of herself as the hero of the story. She thinks she's won D&D, and while absolutely stupid, you gotta give her props for that level of hubris. During that time, a new girl joined the server, and as it happens, a flock of knowledgeable veterans came to the damsel's aid to help her with the insurmountable obstacles that are the rules of 5e. The new girl found solace under the wing of another active female player, Belle, who convinced her they could make a joined background, as she was also about to introduce a new character after a recent mishap. Ah, yes, one of the females who is in desperate need of some big, strong, mighty-brained nerd to show her the ins and outs of the complexities of what is arguably the easiest version of D&D to ever hit the tables. And of course, Belle offering to take her under her wing. I'm sure she's going to be able to graciously share the spotlight with another female that the menfolk are paying attention to. And then they could engage in some awesome roleplay in the server channels. New girl happily accepted. She rolled a young paladin coming from a noble family that wanted to make some good change in the world instead of staying in the manor. Cliché, but it works. Then came Belle's Arthur, a young bard, an artist sponsored from a young age by Paladin's family because of his great talent. He saw Paladin growing and became enamored with her, writing many songs about her, and when the Paladin finally left for adventuring, followed her to keep her safe, under orders from her father, and to write her story in song. Quick question to the audience here, guys. How many of you have actually played characters that from the get-go were, they had some kind of like a romantic intertwined backstory together? I've actually actively avoided ever doing that with my fiance and any of our characters, but if you've done it, mention it in the comments. How did it work out? Was it a problem? Was it a disaster? Did it work out well? Let me know. And again, it would have been fine if this was all discussed with New Girl previously. Instead, Arthur just appeared out of the blue one day and without any context or a heads up started to aggressively court the Paladin, as if they were betrothed and madly in love. All while the New Girl and her Paladin just wanted to meet the rest of the characters, have some adventures, learn the game, and have fun. Instead, random bits of previously undiscussed backstory were shoehorned everywhere, like bringing up how the Paladin fell off her horse one day and scratched her knee and cried, but the bard was there to kiss it away and sing a healing song and wipe her tears with his shirt while revealing his awesome abs. Not even exaggerating here. Which the hardened and pious tomboy paladin that practiced with a sword instead of playing with dolls denied ever happening. And all this happening as they discussed defensive strategies with the captain of the guard during an imminent goblin raid. Alright, the goblins are gonna come at us from here if they break through our defenses, so we're all fucked. Alright, so how do we prevent them from getting into... Hello, fellow travelers! Let me exalt you with tales of shoehorned exposition that no one asked for. But no, we got to talk about how to stop the goblins. Nay, I shall tell you about this paladin and what a weak and crying little girl this obviously buff and wielding a broadsword character is. Yes, but no, I know better. I am the one telling this tale. The player. The narrative is mine to decide. So you can imagine the facepalm when I saw a PM one day from New Girl saying, "Hi, Mr. DM. What is wrong with Belle, and how do I make her stop?" Oh, you sweet, sweet summer child. Run far from this server, from this game, and tell the normies what you have seen here, lest they fall into the same peril. We tried talking to Belle yet again, but again she denied any wrongdoing, taking it all as a personal assault. We may have gotten out a bit too strong. The moment the statement, "Please stay away from my character, I don't feel comfortable," gets challenged, I don't know what else to do other than walk away. I mean, I'll tell you exactly what to do. You tell her to take a walk, and I don't care if the owner of the server likes her. You tell the owner of the server, look, anytime we come to play and she logs on, we're all logging off, because, I mean, he might like her, but if it comes down to her or her going or everyone else going, he can't play with just her. And, it sounds like he failed to actively woo her, so he's not getting anything in the real world out of it either. So I'm pretty sure he'll if you give him that ultimatum, he's gonna go with you guys. And if he doesn't, well, then just make good on your threat, walk, and I guarantee in like a week's time he'll be like, "No, I booted her, please come back," because you can't play D&D in a vacuum. And no, you don't throw your hands up and say, "I don't know what to do." Deal with the problem, DM. I've given OP a lot of leeway in potential mistakes they've made over these stories, but this one, don't just throw your hands up. Take some action. Maybe we should have, but we had put work in our characters and the server. We were not willing to give all that up. So I was called in again, this time to kill Arthur. I don't like this hitman role. I mean, of course you don't. It's cowardly and it doesn't work. You kill this character, she's going to make a new character that's also going to be problematic. Boot her from the server. The first time I ever played D&D, we had a friend that was a problematic player in other things we'd played before, so when we all got together to play D&D, he wasn't invited. He got mad, he called us out on it. The DM said, "Well, you've always been problematic, so we just don't want you in this game." He didn't like that, but he couldn't really deny that we were talking the truth, and that's it. If you have someone who's a problem, just stop being accommodating. Talk to them IRL and say, "Look, you're a problem, we're not going to put up with this shit," and that's it. Don't be a coward. Don't don't do that. Just tell them that they're a problem. Talk to them directly, and then just go from there. I'm tired of people not wanting to actually address problems. I don't like this hitman role, and the character was not the problem. The player was. I went to the owner. He just swept it under the carpet as good fun. I explained it wasn't anymore. People were about to call it quits, so either he talked to her, presented a yellow card, and took action, or there would be more problems. He finally caved in. He talked to her, and finally, seeing the owner didn't have her back anymore, she backed off. She interacted less and less until she found a new server and started focusing her efforts to find true love there, and didn't bother us anymore. OP, I would like to apologize once again for judging you prematurely. It seems you and I were of the same mind on this, and I once again bow to your experience and your amazing DM ability and your dedication to helping your players have fun. I thought you were going to go with the assassin role again, and this was just going to get worse, but apparently I jumped to conclusions too soon, and you literally did everything I suggested, so I'm sorry. And nothing of value was lost. I wish we didn't have to take such drastic measures. I wish we could find an understanding and keep playing together as friends, but some people just don't get it. We kept playing on the server through the quarantine. We met many new, awesome people, and with some we still play today, and it would have been a real shame if all this was ruined by the inconsiderate actions of one person. After that, we were really careful of red flags and how to handle similar situations. And guys, that's the end of this story. I want to do a couple final thoughts before we end this, once again, rather long episode. Again, I know I said some harsh words to OP, and I just want to say that, wow, I wish I had a DM like you to play under, because you sound really great, you sound really competent, and that your players having fun is the most important thing for you, and I really admire that. The other final thought of this is I kind of want to know why... I want to know why Bella keeps joining these D&D servers, these games, because it's clear that, one, she wants people to notice her and think she's really cool in an attempt to get out of, again, the shadow of her parents, whatever that really means. And I just feel like it hasn't worked for her. She's gotten booted from game stores, she's gotten booted from servers. Like, why is she still trying to do this through D&D? If she really wants to find fame, acceptance, and true love, why is she doing it with within a community that has rejected her? Like, there's got to be other places you can go looking for your recognition and true love outside of D&D. In fact, I would say of all the reasons you could ever decide to play D&D, finding true love IRL is never one you should do. Yes, I met my fiance playing D&D, but this isn't even a case of do as I say, not as I do. We literally started playing, we were just friends, and eventually we developed a connection, but that was not what either of us entered that game looking for. And but you know, yeah, it's just not a good call to try and find love by playing D&D. Like, that, it can happen, but it shouldn't be the goal of it. I also feel bad in a way for Bella, because I definitely think she suffers from, like, big fish small pond syndrome. Like, her parents are important in this area, and that has given her an inflated sense of importance. But she tries to, one, she's always gonna, if she stays in that area, she's always gonna be in the shadow of her parents because they're prominent local figures. But if she moves out of their sphere of influence, she's not gonna matter, because she isn't. She grew up just having importance just kind of grandfathered in, and it doesn't sound like she has the skills to earn that on her own. But the fact that she's incorporated this into her narrative on her quest for true love, I feel like this girl has a major princess syndrome that I don't know if she's ever going to get away from it, and I feel kind of bad for that. But at the same time, she's too insufferable for anyone to really want to help her. And again, this has been Bell's Blues 2 Electric Boogaloo by Katarai, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. If you like this video, like, subscribe, be sure to leave a comment, go check out my miniatures, go to the giveaway video, cast your vote for which miniature I should be giving away. This is Chimera Miniatures, I'm Mr. Sean, I hope you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!